Well, welcome to another Financial Friday. I'm your host, Dr. A.D. Burns, and this is my co-host, Brother James, Minister James Jones. How you doing this evening, Minister Jones?
I'm doing good, Pastor. I'm doing real good.
Good. So listen, we had another Financial Friday,
Yes.
and of course, I'm excited about Financial Fridays. Did you think it was going to be this long when I first asked you to do a Financial Friday?
Man, when you first asked me, I thought it was going to be like a 3-month thing. You ever seen a show called Gilligan's Island?
Yeah.
That's how long I thought it was going to be. A 3-hour tour. Just a 3-hour tour. I'm telling you.
Well, listen, it's been a great, ride, if you will. And just to hear the comments from the people when I'm out and about, that's always encouraging to hear the comments of people who being helped by it and people who are making changes. And I definitely would say it's changed my life and my, when it comes to financial stability, even my mindset, how I think is different now. And I hear my wife, she says certain things we might be doing, and she'll say Financial Friday or something, and then that mean I need to cut back or I need to, do something wiser than what I'm doing. So it's been a great help to us. And I'm looking forward to starting out in January with the 6-figure challenge.
Yes.
And so I'm believing we'll be ready to go by then. And
Yes.
so it's been good. It's been good. I think sometimes people think, I think one of the biggest things that impacted me was the small adjustments, the whole thought of small adjustments, because I'm one of them guys, and being a member of Jericho, when I come out with my vision builders of what I want to get done, I have, I shoot for the moon, you know what I mean? And so you talk about small adjustments, it was kind of difficult for me because, I'm always taking giant steps. But, learning to take small adjustments, I'm beginning to see that work. I didn't realize how I'm not an impatient person. However, I'm trying to, I'm clear where I'm going and I'm really just trying to get there. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to, let no grass grow up under my feet. And so it's been really good. It's been really good. And, you got your own private following, you got your own your private club. So what are some of the things you're hearing from some of your people when it comes to Financial Friday?
So the funny thing that I had going on was somebody said that they actually asked me about that because they said I smile a lot, so they don't know if it's all serious or not. And I was laughing because I was telling somebody else the same thing. What I take as normal, somebody else may take as serious. Okay. But to me, it's just normal. But it's a lot of things that I tell people I have my elements that I'm good at. It's some things that I need to work on.
Okay.
So if I see somebody else and they like the best soccer player ever and it's natural to them, and I may go there and they may do trick shots and they may be laughing, having fun, talking, and still doing all the trick shots. I'm sitting there trying to concentrate really hard to get the angle of the trick shot. It's just that when they're in their groove and they're in their element, then it's a lot easier for them to talk and they are able to do that a lot more effectively.
Okay.
So since I'm in my element and this is how I do things, and it's a lot more easier for me to just talk about it because after doing it for so long, you can go through the highs and the lows and everything pretty much kind of flows out. So I do think it's fun. And one of the biggest things that I also got is I'm still am trying to become better at just speaking and being able to talk to people on a regular basis excuse me, to let them know like, hey, we exist. This is what we're doing, and this is how I got to the next level. I'm still working on that.
Okay.
Because I mean, when you get there, you always want to bring somebody else with you. You never want to be in a place by yourself.
Yeah, and that's the challenging part for me, because you're trying you want to get people to go to the place where they need to go, but they don't always want to go there. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I feel like I want it better than they want it, and they need it better than I want them to have it. You know what I mean? But they don't necessarily see it. Seems like people waiting on. It's like they're waiting on the lottery to happen before they start. They feel like they got to have this big, bankroll to be able to, do what we're talking about. And they don't realize that we all started at somewhere, right?
Yeah.
That you didn't just start where you are, but there were days, you talked about it early on where, you had multiple jobs and still couldn't hardly make it. Right. Yeah. And so people, get into a place to understand you start where you are, and if you start where you are and you use what you have, you build to where you're going. Fast money is not always good money. Is lessons comes with building wealth. I see we got a grinder online. What's up, Lady B? Mr. J, you didn't say have you said it in a while?
No, because I say it every time, but my camera went down this time, so I'll make sure I say it. All Hello, right. Everyone, but good evening to all my grinders. Oh yeah.
Grinders. And so what's a grinder?
A grinder is a person who has determination, stick-to-itness, and they're willing to do what they're willing to do the same thing over and over again, the same process over and over again. Not to just hit a result, but to hit the perfect result every time.
Okay.
And that's a grinder, because once you do it once, that's nice, you achieved it. But if you do it enough times that you won't forget it, then now you're grinding.
Yeah. It becomes, like they say, with memory muscle, right?
Yeah.
You just, you're just doing it. Yeah. And that's so important, because, a lot of times we don't understand that, the person who got big muscles or the person that's in shape, they don't like getting up necessarily at 5 o'clock in the morning and exercising or going to the gym every day. You know what I mean? But they do it because of the results that they're trying to get, And so it's not about liking when it comes to, always got your pedal to the metal, as much as it is about understanding what it takes to get the results that you want, And I say, when it comes to watching television, either you're gonna the guy on the other side on the screen, he getting paid to be on the screen, but you ain't getting paid to watch him. You know what I mean? You need to make sure that we're balancing our lives so that we're using our time wisely when it comes to being able to grind it out. Yeah. Yes. All right, we got another grinder on.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's your cue, James.
Hello to all my grinders.
No, you said that, you gotta have a different one.
Okay.
Grinders, you got another grinder on there.
Grinders unite. I mean,
hey, Tiffany with us tonight. How you doing, Tiffany? Well, tonight, what we're talking about tonight? We're talking about deductions. What else we're talking about, Mr. J?
So this is the culmination of everything that we've been talking about. So we talked about how to make money off just using your sanity. And remember, everything comes off the formula. So we talked about the sanity. We talked about the acceleration. We talked about the emergency. We talked about the safety net. We talked about living expenses. Now we're talking about the last two, which is for God and for country. So the biggest things that people don't take advantage of it's the simple things, like I've been saying all along. It's the small adjustments. So now we're gonna get into the small adjustments of moving your gross income and making it different from your adjusted gross income. So all of these deal with write-offs.
All right. Tiffany said that she's amazing. All right, Tiffany. I love that. Amazing. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive on in there because we want to be good stewards. Let me start off with a mantra. You know, I got a mantra that I was reading, and I said I'm gonna put this one out there. Boom! Here it is. It says, I steward my finances with wisdom, ensuring that every deduction leads to greater prosperity and purpose. And so now we want to begin tonight by talking about deductions, because we want everything that we do to lead to greater prosperity and greater purpose. Come on, Mr. K. Let's dive right in.
Okay. So welcome to Financial Fridays. Let's talk about write-offs. Now, the big thing about write-offs is, just like I was telling somebody previously, you don't start writing stuff off in December. You start preparing to write stuff off in January. So when January of this year, I was already at the end. When January 30th happened, I was already in there putting stuff to the side. So writing off is the ability to take the money that you're currently using and write it off or have a purpose for it, so you're not taxed at the end of the year. So we're talking about write-offs.
That's so cute, James.
Hello to all my grandmas.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I thought I heard something.
Oh, you did. I was getting my Facebook up so I can see it.
It's always good to have other people listening. I just thought I heard my voice. I'm like, man, I'm good. Am I a ventriloquist? No, I'm good. So this is the formula that I've been working with, everybody on. It's 10, 10, 40, 20, 10, 5, and 5. So 10% is assigned to God. You can always do more, but you want to assign 10% to God. Assign 10% to your taxes. 40% is what you live off of. 20% is what you invest in yourself or in others off of. 10% is your emergency. 5 is for your acceleration, and another 5 is for your sanity.
Okay.
Whew. Hopefully you're taking notes. So if you're not, just know that that's the picture. That's the formula. Follow the formula and assign every dollar you get. Okay. So for this time, we're talking about the formula of 10 going to God and 10 going to the government. Now, when we talk about that, we're talking about how to write things off. And I will get into that in the coming weeks. Okay. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, the definition of acceleration is still the same. It is the rate of speed. That means how fast you're doing something equal velocity and time. How fast you're doing something, how much weight you're moving, and the time that you're utilizing in order to get things done. So I want everyone to, accelerate what they're doing. So in order for us to do this, here go a bunch of examples. And like all things, everything I'm doing is to eliminate your debt or greatly reduce your debt and increase your life. So with that being said, like I said it before, like I'll say it again, you got this. So whoever hearing me, whether right now or in the future, you got this. Okay. Just trust the process, and the process will do what it's supposed to do. Okay. With acceleration, off the top, the biggest things that anyone can utilize is your health savings account and a flexible spending account. These are things that are typically offered by your employer. And if you're self-employed, you can open these things up as well. So the difference is, a health spending account is for any high deductibles for your insurance. So if you think about it, so when you look at your medical bills, some people do, some people don't. So there's different types. So you have your deductible, you have your co-insurance or your copay. Those are not the same, but most people get those confused. Copay means the amount in which you will pay for every action in which you do. For everything that you're charged for, you have a copay. A deduction is in order for you to get something done for you, you must reach a certain threshold. So that's your deductible. So when you got a health savings account, you have the ability to utilize that money. But when you have an employer, that money is not taxed because it is being set aside in order to achieve that savings or that bill. So the good things about that is that these things affect your gross income. These things can be deducted from your gross income. And by doing that, you now have money set aside just for your hospital bills. So if you have a person who goes to the hospital a lot, or you have a person who has a lot of health conditions, a health savings account may be beneficial to you because now you can use pre-tax dollars to send directly to the hospital in order to get those things situated.
All right. Well, that's good info right there. And I think one of the things that we have to understand more than anything is that anytime you're setting money aside, it has to be a sign. Oftentimes, what happens in the average person's life is they put the money aside, but then they go dipping in it, for things that's, not what it's designed for or what you purposed it for. And we talked about that early on, making sure that your money has an assignment, And so I think that when you really begin to understand the importance of taking little bits that we have, then designating them in those areas, like you said, whether it's the savings for your health or whatever it might be, so that we're making sure that we're we're maximizing what we have. Do that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that we're maximizing what we have, and don't get overwhelmed. That's why scriptures are important. Look at this right here. I came across this. It says Scripture motivates you to put your best efforts into whatever task or skill you undertake, emphasizing the importance of wholehearted dedication. And so, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever your goal is, whatever you want to see happen, you have to make sure you are wholeheartedly dedicated to making it happen. You can't be wishy-washy. Consistency wins the race. You got to be consistent. Consistency don't mean you the fastest. Consistency don't mean that you're putting the most in it. So, you might start with $5 and somebody else might start with 100. It's not about the amount. It's not about how big it is, but it's about how consistent you are. And so you want to be wholeheartedly dedicated to it so that you are consistent. And what we're doing is building new habits.
Yes.
We're building new habits. And once we get a regiment of doing something over and over and over again, like we talked about early on, then it becomes second nature to you. And you'll get to a place where you can have, $10,000 sitting over there and you can enjoy looking at it in your bank account. And even though you might want to go buy something, you can be disciplined to the point that you can see it sitting over there and not go tap into it to go buy something else, And before you know it, that 10 becomes 50, that 50 becomes 100, 200. And you be rolling then.
Yes, that's actually just what it does. That's what it does.
Yeah. So when we talk about the whole idea of being able to write things off or being able to understand deductions, what are some of the, because a lot of times when it comes to writing off, a lot of times we don't understand what that means, so you go to your tax person, and now with the way the government is doing now, when it comes to like your your church finances that you give to your church, they're saying now you can only write off so much. You know, where you used to be able to write it all off. Now they got a limit on how much you can write off of that money that you're giving to charitable organizations, which I think is wrong. But, you know, because some people are discouraged. And I don't know, I'm going to use that loosely. Discouraged to give because they feel like they can't get it right. They can't write it off, even though we really shouldn't be giving to get it rolled off. Writing off is a benefit of giving, but we don't give to write off, you know. But when it comes to writing off things, let's talk a little bit about what that actually means.
So when it comes to writing stuff off, the easy way to put it is, as you make money, you have disposable income. That disposable income is typically called your net income. That's after taxes. So your disposable income. Then you use that income to pay all your bills. Then you have your residual income, which is the leftover. From there, you can utilize that income to put into charitable organizations. So charitable organizations could be your church. It could be organizations that are not-for-profit. So if you see a Boys and Girls Club, that's a charitable organization. Salvation Army is a charitable organization. A charitable organization there's a bunch of them, like Special Olympics, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and there's a bunch of them. But they are charitable organizations, and they allow you to put your money into those in order to I want to make sure I said this correctly. You're donating to help out that organization as a
benefit.
A benefit. I'm trying to think of another word to say benefit. I'm like, well, it is a benefit, but I don't want to make it sound like that's the reason why you do it. One of the causes of it, right? One of the effects of giving money is that now you have the ability to write off the amount in which you give. I don't want to say benefit, because the reason why we give money to organizations isn't necessary to write them off. Mm-hmm. We give money to organizations because we like what that organization stands for, and we want to help them pursue more. So that's the reason why we do it.
Or you're a member of that organization. So if you're a member of a church, then that should be your first place that you should be giving to, because you're a member of that particular place, and so you should support that as your first line of action. But continue. I just want to throw that in for free.
So in case anybody knows, if you go to church, if you're a member of a church, give to your church.
That's right.
So that's the asterisk. But I want to make sure that that's what deductions come from, or write-offs. That's how write-offs begin, because you see an organization which you would like to give to. So now you're taking your residual income and now you're giving it to that not-for-profit. Around any time between November to January 30th, that nonprofit organization writes you a slip. That slip is what you use to give to your tax preparer. Once you give it to your tax preparer, what they'll do, they'll take it off your adjusted gross income, and that will be a deduction. So as a rule of thumb, you typically don't want to have a lot of disposable income that is not already assigned to something, because by doing that, you will be taxed on your disposable income that is not being assigned. And yes, the government is going to tax you on money that is not already assigned to somewhere. I know that they already taxed you for spending it, and I know that they're taxing you when you get it. I understand that. So I'm making it very clear. If you have leftover money that has not been assigned or used, you are being taxed for that as well. Whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, there is a slew of taxes in which the government is making sure that your money is either being active or they want it.
Okay, so let's be clear when we talk about the whole idea of, deductions that, let's say you make $20,000 for the year. That's your total, and you gave $10,000 to the church. Instead of paying taxes on the $20,000, you only paying taxes on what's left, which would be $10,000, right?
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
but if you don't give the 10,000 to the church and you have 20,000, then you're gonna pay taxes on the whole 20,000.
Yes.
That's a good point there, in from the standpoint that if you don't give it to the church, you're gonna give it to the government, but you're gonna give it up.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to
Essentially,
remember that.
yes.
Let me write that down. That's good, because a lot of times people don't want to give because of whatever reasons that they have, but they don't realize that at the end you're going to give it up anyway. And who is that? That's my friend Apostle Caldwell on. Yeah, so we're talking about this Rise and Thrive. I didn't do my intro. Rise and Thrive. Are we rising out of our financial slumps and rising? We're rising out of our financial slumps and we're thriving in our financial freedom. And so we're talking about rising and thriving. And tonight we're talking about deductions. We're talking about deductions. So let's go a little further when we talk about deductions.
Okay. The next underneath, the one underneath it is called the flexible spending account. Now it does encompass the health savings account, but the flexible spending account does a little bit more because you can do that for health and dependent care and child care. So your flexible spending account allows you not to just do the health benefit portion, but if you have like a parent in, I think it's called not hospice, in care, in a nursing home, or if you have a child in daycare, your flexible spending account allows you to have money set aside to have those things paid off. And the benefit of that is the same as the health savings account, except for the flexible spending account, you actually receive a credit card or a pay card. And by utilizing that pay card, now you can charge everything off, and that's still utilizing non-tax money in order to achieve what you want to achieve. Now, depending on what employer you use, some employers use pre-tax, some employers use post-tax. The biggest thing you want to observe is which one or which category you fall into based on your employer. If it's pre-tax, that means it's coming out of another account in which you will be deducted from out of your paycheck directly. If it's post-tax, that means it comes after you got paid, after the government got their share, and then you had money put aside. That money that is put aside, you can then utilize that money on your taxes. Hopefully, I'm not losing you too much. So to make it simple or simpler, your flexible spending account is a card that they typically give you. They give you that card so you can pay directly those people who are taking care of your dependent care or your medical needs. By utilizing that card, at the end of the year, they will give you a statement. That statement is what you give to your tax preparer, who will lower your adjusted gross income. And the reason why you want that to happen is because after you get past your gross income and you're looking at your adjusted gross income on your tax form, right at the bottom, it says how much you're taxable. And that's your taxable income. When that is lowered, that's how much the government is charging you just for you to have that kind of income.
Okay. And so those are both of those deals with health, right? When it
Yes.
comes to how your health is being financed. For some, you just got insurance and you go in and you pay your $20 deductible. For others, you may have a health savings account. And then for somebody else, you may have a flexible spending account. But those things are for your health. And so whether some of them will cover health related things, like you go to Walgreens, or CVS and you have to buy a knee brace or, something dealing with your health, your prescriptions or, things that deal with your health. And so being able to, understand that those things help lower what you're going to owe to the government at the end. So again, when we're talking about deductions, let's say you make $100,000 a year, and you have 25,000 of that was in one of those health categories. Well, then you're not being taxed on 100,000. They're gonna subtract the 25,000, so you're really only going to be taxed on 75,000.
Yes.
Okay, and so and I think we're on the right track. And Apostle said a seed will meet any need. Yeah. So if you don't have one of those things, a seed will meet any need. So a seed is always a seed trumps everything. So because Apostle, he goes on to say you can count how many seeds in an apple, but you can't count how many apples in a seed. Yeah. So a seed will be any need. All right, come on. Let's go down a little. Let's go on a little further there. Did we say hello to Elder? Oh yeah, that was the other grinder, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
He's still on vacation, tuning in. Thank you, Elder, for tuning in. When you come back this way, bring some of that good weather. I know you got some good weather where you at. So you see, I got on my hoodie today. The other day I had on my jacket, and I think I came home one day and smelled some heat. This is Wisconsin. All right, let's go down a little further when we talk about we have some more on deductions.
Yes.
Okay.
So the biggest thing that I want to make sure that we're hitting up is these two. Now, the one on the bottom is a pre-tax deduction, which is different from the two that I already talked about. So I'm going to talk about retirement first. So when you got a tax deferred retirement account. So remember when some weeks past, I talked about the 401k, the 201k, your RRA. So all of those are tax deferred retirement accounts. Typically, not always, but typically your employer puts a certain portion aside, or they match the portion that you put in up to maybe 5 to 10, even some up to 15%. Mm-hmm. So if you want to put 5% or 30%, your employer will match you up to 5% of what your salary is when they put it inside your tax deferred retirement account. The reason why you want to contribute to these things is that it's free money that your employer is putting into there. So for everyone who is working a job and your employer has a program that does tax deferred retirement accounts, or 401k or 201k, a traditional IRA, if you plan on being there the length of time, so anybody plan on being there the length of time, like 20 years. I'm not saying that, excuse me. I want to make sure I preface this correctly. If this is only a job and you plan on being there for like 1 to 2 months, like a summer vacation, and then leaving, this may not be something that you will be interested in. However, if you've grown and you're in your career path, and this is something in which you will see yourself doing for the better part of 10, 15, 20 plus 30 years, you want to involve or invest yourself in a tax deferred retirement account. Now, I do talk about this on different levels on who may be more beneficial or less beneficial. But this is for those who find the career path that they're interested in, and they have a company that was willing to back them. A tax deferred retirement account allows you to put money into a tax shelter, and then at the end of the year, you're reducing the amount of money in which the government is charging you for. By doing that, you do two things. One, your money is accruing more money through interest, and also through just through being inside the market. And two, the other way it helps you is that it reduces the amount of money the government is taxing you for having your money. So this is one of the ways to be able to write stuff off. The next one, number two, the pre-tax. The key word is pre-tax deduction for your health. When you do health insurance, the pre-tax portion of that, so when you put money aside, or if you go through your health insurance and it goes through your employer, so when you look at your paycheck or your LES or your check stub, it will tell you the deductions. If one of those deductions is your health insurance, that's a pre-tax deduction, which means you're getting health insurance through your employer that is not going to be, that you will not be charged at the end of the year. So when they pull up your LES or your W-2 at the end of the year, the amount of money in which you was paying into your health insurance will be deducted from how much the government is now about to tax you.
No, that makes sense. And you know, I know it's kind of technical, and when it comes to, you know, understanding some of these different things, and some of them for those who are not engaged in one or the other, then it's probably just going right over your head. But for those that do have those particular types of programs, then you have a greater understanding. But in any of them, we're saying the same thing about understanding that the monies that you're getting, they'll be taxed. And if you use your deductions properly, you will be paying less taxes on the monies that you get versus paying taxes on everything.
Yes.
So when you use your deductions properly, then it puts money back in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's kind of what we're saying. So it's all about that dollar. You know,
Yes.
who gonna get it? You gonna give it to your uncle, or you gonna, you know?
Sam do be asking for it.
Hey, no, he don't. He does not ask. He take it.
At the end of the year, he'd be like, "Now you know you made a couple extra dollars.
He be taking it.
Now I need my two. You made three. Just give me my two, and that one is yours. I promise."
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, let's keep on Cadillacing here. I had
Okay.
a couple proverbs that I want to put up there, and check out this one right here. This is a proverb, and I thought this was a good one, especially for tonight. Here it come right here. It says, um, "The art is not in making money, but in keeping it."
Yes.
You know, and so it's not about how much you make; it's about how much you keep. You know, because a lot of times there's people who make a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money.
Yes.
You know, so they, even though they have a lot of money coming through their hands, in the end they don't have it. And so it's not about making money; it's about keeping it. And so deductions are a way to keep it. All right, let's see what else we got going on.
Oh, we got more time? Cool. This is gonna be nice. Now remember, the art of keeping money is what write-offs are all about. So the better you are at finding a point or a deduction and then putting yourself towards that deduction, you can really utilize the adjusted gross income model so you can further push yourself in the right direction, and as well as your family. With that being said, we're moving into more education. And a couple weeks back, remember, we talked about this when I said, hey guys, or we talked about this when we was like, hey guys, guess what? You got to leave a legacy, not just for your children, but for your children's children's children. So with that,
Now, when you say that children, that reminds me of one of your favorite people, and I always mess up his name, Robert
Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a great one. about keeping money. Listen to what he says. He says it's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for.
I like that one.
Yeah,
Oh, I like that one.
yeah. So that's important when we talk about generational wealth. Come on, let's roll.
So, coming off of generational wealth, you as a person who's looking to better someone younger than you, so you can contribute. It's two different things. But one is the 529 plan. It's a savings plan. Now, not all states have it, but what it is it allows you to put money aside every year, which is interest free, deductible. You put it aside. It's like a savings plan. Some organizations have it, some states have it. So you're putting money aside. So then when your kid goes to school, boom, that money is being pushed directly to that school. So it's coming out of your hands into a system that is keeping it tax free so it can go directly to the school. Now, I don't want to make it all hocus pocus. So the money is coming from your work or your employer tax pre-taxed, is going into an account that can only be utilized by the child or by the young adult who's going to college. That's the simplest way to put it.
Okay.
Now remember, if you don't know, take notes, and when you see me, just ask me. And I can elaborate a lot more. But I want to make sure that we're hitting all the points right now. So contributing to the 529 plan, if you do have it in your state, because everybody can view this. So if you can get the 529 plan and you do have children that will be going to college in the future, and that means you plan, just like your money, you're planning to have a child go to college in the future. The 529 plan is a good rule of thumb because it allows you to put money to the side in order to send it forward to the child up to the grandchild of going to college. Now, this is the good one, the student loan interest deduction. So a lot of people went to college and they acquired loans. Those loans have the ability interest on those loans have the ability to be deducted. Now, there are some stipulations to that, but basically, as you pay off your student loan, as long as the interest is low, you can write off the interest that you're paying on your student loan. Now, I do want to be a little serious about this because some people have to look at what they're being charged in interest. And I say that because if you went to school for 4 years and each year you put on another loan of $40,000 or more, even though it says 3% interest, you may be paying about $5,000 to $6,000 over the course of that loan. And I mean, not 45,000 each year off that loan. Just because the interest rate is low, you always want to make sure you're understand where your money is going and what your money is doing, and then two, be able to write it off at the end of the year. So come November, not December, come November, you should be gathering all your information. Come December, you should be processing it. And then January, you should have your slip, and then you're putting your slip in, and you can take it off of your adjusted gross income.
Now, one of the things that's going to be very important is understanding what we said at the beginning tonight when we talked about the 10-10-40. And so in order to be able to, because you'll look at your money or your financial situation and you'll say, well, I don't have enough money or to be able to do any of these different types of saving plans. But you have to go back to what we talked about in the beginning with the 10-10-40, and you have to begin to look at how to bring down your living expenses, because you may be at 80 or 90% of your income you might be living on, and you want to get that down to 40 or somewhere in that area, but you want to start getting that down. And then as you come down, the money that you're saving, then you have to assign that over. You understand what I mean? And so you have to find that balance there, but you gotta get some type of budget going, you know,
Yeah.
and you can't, you know, a lot of times when you hear emergency fund or you hear saving, different types of saving plans, where you hear giving to the church or charities and things of that sort, you're already in the mode that you feel like you can't give, and that's because you're living on too much of your money. Your living expenses are too high, and so you have to begin to look at that. And we've talked about it in some of our previous shows, but you have to begin to bring down those living expenses and reassigning that money towards some of these other areas.
Yeah.
Because if you have children, you know at some point they're going to college, or at least you should want them to go to college, and you should want to be able to help them to go to college. You know what I mean? And so you want to be able to begin. And some of the other things we talked about tonight, you ought to want some of those things, you know, because it improve your life, and so your quality of living. But in order to do that, you have to begin to be more serious about budget. You know, looking at where your money is going. You know, how much money is coming in and how much money is going out,
Yes.
and
Yes.
where that money is going. You know, because just when I start popping my own popcorn and I start making my own cupcakes and my own banana bread and my own cookies and different things like that, that cut down a whole lot for me. I didn't realize how much I was spending when I stopped at the service station and run in and get me a couple, bags of chips and popcorn and some, honey buns, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can do that over a couple times a week. For me, when I come out of there, that's about $10 when I come out there, and I was doing that at least a couple times a week, but now when I do it at home, I'm able to, when I make some, it ain't just a one serving snack, you know what I mean? Instead of going and you buy a pack of cookies for that same price, you can go to the grocery store and get you some cookie dough already made and come home and pop them in there, and you get you like 24 cookies, you know what I mean? Or with the popcorn, um, one uh, bottle of seeds, make up how many bags of popcorn, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying there, and we talked about this early on, but there are ways that you can cut back on your spending in order to create some money to assign towards some of these areas of savings.
Yes.
Did I say
Yes.
it right, Mr. J?
Yes, you did.
All
I
right.
just want to piggyback on some of the stuff on what you did say, because I do think that we need to double tap this. If you are assigning your money properly, assigning it properly, instead of just saying, "Oh, okay, it's going here." Oh, okay, it's just going here, right? Because if there's no follow up, if you don't know where your money is going, trust me, your money is going somewhere. It's leaving your pocket and it is going somewhere. So when you assign it, you got to make sure it's doing what you signed it to do. And I know I can laugh and say, yeah, these are a bunch of good write-offs. But if you don't know, replay it, take notes. Everything I told you can have the effect of benefiting you. If you got a bunch of kids and they go to the hospital, take advantage of the flexible spending or the health savings account. If you got some kids in high school or you got a kid in elementary school and you can foresee that they're going to go to college, you can foresee that they can go to a technical school, you can foresee that they can go to Job Corps. When I say that, I mean these are all things that a person in high school can go to. And you do have the ability to pay off these things ahead of time. If the kid is not going to go to college and get a BA degree, guess what? A master electrician still makes six figures. A master plumber can still make six figures. An architect can still make six figures. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to go to college to get a BA degree. It means they do have to go to post high school. Post high school is where every child needs to be looking and seeking after. Post high school. Let's say you're the best streamer ever. You want to go to the place on how to game so you can game better. If you're a graphic designer, you want to go to a place that allows you to graphic design better so you can work on your craft. I'm not saying working on your craft is for everybody, but I'm saying post high school is for everybody. In this day and age, you need to have something more than just high school. With that being said, reading is fundamental. An old mentor of mine was really keen on reading everything. And the best way to get out of your slump is to develop a book hunger. That means you read a book, a simple book. And if you don't have it, go to the library. Just develop a way of reading a book, because reading books allow you to start assigning your time. Once you assign your time, you can assign your money. Once you assign your time and you're assigning your money, then everything else will start falling in place, because where you spend your money, that's where your heart is.
Yeah. The Bible tells us that. Look at this quote here I just made up. It says this. Look what it said. We must use wisdom in managing deductions and expenses carefully to ensure long-term financial stability. You know? And wisdom, that's what he was just talking about, knowledge. Knowledge is the beginning of wisdom, but knowledge is not wisdom. Knowledge becomes wisdom when you apply it. And so it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to do it. And so we have to be careful because people say when you know better, you do better, but that's not true. That's not necessarily true. When you know better, you can do better. Yes. But it doesn't mean just because you know you're going to do better. You have to choose to do better. And so we have to take what we know, knowledge, and apply it, to our, way of life, and it becomes wisdom. And then we have to understand how important it is to manage not only the deductions that we're talking about tonight, but also manage our expenses. And we got to do that very carefully, because money will come and go so quickly. It'd be amazing how fast money go. When I be on vacation, I try to start with a certain amount of money. I'll go with a certain amount of money, and I say, this is what I'm going to spend, and I do good the first 2 or 3 days, but then something happened at the end, that last day or the last 2 days or something, whether I see something and buy it or some kind of way, all of a sudden I'll shoot through some money, and I'll be like, man, what just happened? So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Well, listen, we got about 7 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun.
I was having fun.
And so where are we at on deductions? Did we get through all of our deductions?
Oh, no. We're halfway through. We're halfway through our deductions.
Well, let's go a little more, and then we'll call it a night.
Okay, we got like 6 minutes. So let me go to the next one. Okay, now this is for all my business owners. So if you're a grinder and you develop your own business, this is a really nice one. I really do like this one. So this is your capital losses. So your capital losses is for any sold investments. Now I put capital losses down there because, let's face it. Okay, I'm a real estate guy, and capital losses is something in which it happens sometimes. So whenever you sold an investment and you lose about $3,000 or more, you can deduct that from your original income. Now, I say that because I have 2 sources of income. I have a passive source of income, which I like a lot, and I have an active source of income, which I also, I like it. I don't like it a lot, but I do like it. And the reason why is because the Bible says it like this: when it is daytime, you work.
Right.
Because when nighttime comes, you don't work. Now, I'm a guy, I'm still healthy, I can still move, I can still run, jump, shoot, and communicate. So I'm still working an active lifestyle, and I still am building a bigger passive lifestyle, which is perfectly okay to do if that's you. So capital losses is how you can mitigate some of the losses that you take on when you're selling different instruments or financial instruments. I got five minutes. Okay, now there's another one that I like. So if you're a self-employed person, this is your slide. That's what you want. So business deductions for self-employed. When I say this is how you can easily drop a lot of your money, I'm gonna tell you a couple of tips that I do. So if you're self-employed, the laptop that you buy, the laptop you buy, the internet you use, the cell phone you bought, the cell phone service you use, those are deductible because they support your business. Now, I'm not saying buy some random personal cell phone just so you can deduct it. I'm saying if you utilize that item for a majority of a business purposes, you have the ability to write it off. Also, if you was to purchase things for your business, you also have the ability to write those things off as well. Excuse me. Now, I want to make a couple of things clear. There are some limitations to what you can claim as a business need. So if you are not a pilot and you don't fly a lot, the chances of you saying, hey, I had to buy the $3 million plane, you may not be able to write that off. However, if you was to go back and forth and you look at properties all the time, you can write off gas and mileage. You can also write off wear and tear. If you was to have a baker shop and you was to drop stuff off and it's inside your house, you have the ability to write off portions of your house that you utilize for that purpose as well. Me, I have about 3 offices, probably more, but I have 3 offices. One of them is the home. My home is my home-based office. The good part about that is now I can take a portion of my house and write off that portion of my house just because I have a home office. And the benefits of having a home office is that no matter where you go, you can always set up and be able to maneuver where you need to be.
All right. Well, listen, we're just about out of time. And let me put this Zig Ziglar up there one more time. We've used that a couple weeks. And he says this. He said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yes.
And so, listen, you got to start somewhere. You know, you don't have to be great or have a lot of money to start, but you got to start. And so I challenge you to start where you are, small adjustments, and, you know, begin to purpose in your mind that you're going to put some of these things to use, even if it's just one thing between now and next week. Purpose in your heart that you're going to do that. Mr. J, closing remarks.
You can do it. Whatever you don't know, rewind, write it down, Google it. Trust me, what I said does work. You just got to learn how to work it inside your lifestyle, and it will be successful. Other than that, that's for all my grinders.
All right, grinders. Listen, thank you for tuning in to another Financial Friday, where we are rising out of our financial slumps and thriving in financial freedom. Listen, it's the will of God for you to be free and to have financial freedom. He says in 3 John 2, above all, that he wished that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prosper.
Amen.
Listen, walk in it. And until we see you again on next Friday, God bless you. And we pray you have an awesome, productive week in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
I got a few more minutes. Let me say this. Oh, we out. Peace. God bless y'all.